Imagine dismissing the most important messages of your life as mere coincidence. For most people, this isn't imagination, it's reality. They experience moments when the universe seems to bend around their thoughts, when external events mirror their inner world with impossible precision, yet they explain it away with a shrug and the word coincidence. But what happens when someone finally stops explaining and starts listening? The answer will change everything you think you know about how reality actually works. These moments have a name: synchronicities. They're those spine-tingling instances when life feels less like chaos and more like a conversation. When you think of someone you haven't spoken to in years and they call within hours. When you're wrestling with a decision and strangers discuss the exact solution right next to you. When books seem to fall off shelves with titles that speak directly to your situation. Most people experience dozens of these events throughout their lives, yet dismiss them all as statistical noise. This dismissal isn't just intellectual oversight, it's unconscious self-protection. Think about the last time you were desperately trying to solve a problem at work, and then overheard two strangers in an elevator discussing the exact solution you needed. Or when you've been thinking about an old friend you lost touch with, only to bump into them in a grocery store the next day. Maybe you've experienced that eerie moment when you're humming a song in your head and it starts playing on the radio as soon as you get in your car. Most people have dozens of these experiences, meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be chance, but explaining them away feels safer than confronting what acknowledging them might mean. Because admitting these events were meaningful would force anyone to face a terrifying possibility that they aren't actually powerless, that the universe might be responsive to thoughts and emotions in ways that would make them completely responsible for their life's direction. The universe, however, has a way of turning up the volume when people aren't listening. Consider what happened when someone was fired from a job they thought defined their entire identity. For 3 weeks, they barely left their apartment, crushed by feelings of failure and rejection. On a Thursday morning, desperate to escape their own thoughts, they walked to an unfamiliar coffee shop. While waiting for their order, they noticed someone had left a journal on the counter with a bookmark sticking out. Without thinking, they opened it to the marked page and found these words in someone else's handwriting. When one door closes, the universe is preparing to open a better one. They felt an electrical sensation, like their entire nervous system had activated, but dismissed it as just a nice sentiment someone had written down. That afternoon, they finally called their mother to share what had happened. After listening to the whole story, their mother paused and said something that made their blood run cold. "You know, honey, I was just reading this morning and came across the most beautiful quote. It said, 'When one door closes, the universe is preparing to open a better one.' I wrote it down because I thought you might need to hear it someday." But the universe wasn't finished. That evening, while scrolling through social media, a post from their college roommate appeared at the top of their feed. He'd shared a photo of a coffee mug, and the text on it read, "When one door closes, the universe is preparing to open a better one." 3 times, 3 completely unrelated sources, 3 moments of perfect timing. The mathematical probability of this happening by pure chance was so astronomical that continuing to call it coincidence felt like willful delusion. This experience shattered their worldview, and this story isn't unique. Millions of people have similar awakening moments when the sheer impossibility of coincidence forces them to consider that reality might operate according to different rules than they've been taught. The term synchronicity was coined by renowned psychologist Carl Jung, who believed these events were far from random. According to Jung, synchronicities occur when internal psychological states become perfectly aligned with external events, creating moments of profound meaning that can't be explained by cause and effect alone. Jung made a crucial observation. Synchronicities tend to cluster around periods of intense emotional or psychological transformation. They appear most frequently when people are at crossroads, facing major decisions, or going through profound personal change. It's as if existence has a built-in guidance system that activates precisely when direction is needed most. What feels like life falling apart might actually be life reorganizing itself around a person's true path, with synchronicities serving as breadcrumbs leading toward authentic purpose. Once people start paying attention, they realize these meaningful coincidences have been happening their entire lives, but they'd been trained to ignore them. Modern culture teaches that if something can't be measured, quantified, and repeated in a laboratory, it isn't real. Society focuses so intensely on understanding the mechanical how of life that it completely misses the meaningful why. But what if there's an entire dimension of reality operating according to different principles? Not the rules of cause and effect, but the rules of resonance and meaning. Think of consciousness as a radio transmitter, constantly broadcasting signals based on thoughts, emotions, and intentions. The universe, in turn, functions as a vast field of information and possibility that receives these signals and reflects them back through the events, people, and opportunities that appear in daily life. When someone broadcasts fear and desperation, they notice every reason to be afraid and desperate. But when they broadcast clear intentions or hold specific questions in their awareness, the universe seems to conspire to provide answers and guidance. This isn't mystical thinking, it's recognizing a pattern, documented by researchers and experienced by millions throughout history. Modern neuroscience reveals that brains constantly filter reality, highlighting information that matches current focus while screening out everything else. When someone buys a red car, they suddenly notice red cars everywhere. The cars were always there, but attention wasn't tuned to see them. Synchronicities work similarly, except instead of noticing cars, people notice meaningful connections between their inner world and outer reality. Understanding this creates a profound shift in how life is experienced, but it also brings an unexpected challenge. When people truly accept that the universe is responsive to consciousness, they can no longer play the victim. They lose the comfortable excuse of bad luck. Every pattern in their life becomes a mirror, reflecting back the energy they've been putting into the world. Recurring relationship problems reveal internal patterns needing healing. Dream jobs that keep slipping away might be the universe redirecting towards something better aligned with true purpose. Financial struggles could be pushing toward developing a different relationship with abundance and self-worth. For one person, the synchronicities that followed their awakening didn't just offer comfort, they provided a roadmap. Every meaningful coincidence pointed toward a path they never would have chosen logically, but which felt more authentic than anything they'd ever done. Books about consciousness and personal transformation appeared in their life. They met people who introduced concepts they'd never heard of, but somehow understood immediately. Opportunities opened that seemed designed specifically for their unique combination of skills and interests. It became clear that their life's work involved understanding this hidden dimension of reality and helping others recognize it in their own lives. This level of clarity brings both exhilaration and terror. When purpose becomes crystal clear, there are only two choices: answer the call or consciously refuse it. There's no more hiding behind confusion about what someone is supposed to do. The path is illuminated. Walking it becomes a choice, and that choice carries the full weight of responsibility for life's direction. This is why many people unconsciously resist recognizing synchronicities. It's not that they can't see them, it's that seeing them would demand stepping into full power, and that level of responsibility feels overwhelming. So how does someone begin tuning into this dialogue between consciousness and the universe? It starts with the simple but profound act of paying attention. The practice begins with recording every strange coincidence, every meaningful encounter, every moment when reality seems to wink. Thinking of someone right before they call, document it. Seeing the same unusual word or phrase multiple times in one day, write it down. Having a question answered by overhearing a stranger's conversation, record the details. This practice does something crucial. It trains awareness to notice patterns previously programmed to dismiss. People are amazed at how much meaningful communication they were missing simply because they weren't looking for it. The universe has been speaking to everyone their entire lives, but most are like people wearing headphones, wondering why no one ever talks to them. The key lies in learning to distinguish between genuine synchronicities and ordinary coincidences. Real synchronicities carry an emotional charge. They create wonder, recognition, or awe. They feel different from random events because they are different. They carry meaning that resonates at a deep level, often providing exactly the guidance, confirmation, or inspiration needed at that moment. As this awareness develops, something remarkable becomes possible. Active participation in creating synchronicities by holding clear intentions while remaining open to how the universe might respond. When facing a decision, instead of agonizing endlessly, try formulating a clear question and paying attention to what shows up over the next few days. The answer might come through a conversation, a book, a song, or even a random sign spotted while driving. The key is staying alert and trusting that guidance will come, even if it arrives in an unexpected package. Living with this level of awareness transforms the entire relationship with life. Instead of feeling like victims of random circumstances, people become active participants in a responsive universe. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Setbacks become redirections towards something better. Problems become invitations to develop new capacities. The realization emerges that what someone seeks is also seeking them. And this understanding fills life with purpose and magic that most people only dream of experiencing. The choice exists for everyone. They can continue living in a world where everything is separate, random, and meaningless, or step into a reality where they're in constant communication with forces far greater than themselves, forces invested in their growth, happiness, and success. The synchronicities are already there, already happening in every life. The only question is whether someone is ready to start listening. The awakening begins the moment anyone decides that the patterns in their life might be more than coincidence. And once that decision is made, everything changes. The universe has been waiting for each person to join the conversation, and it has a lot to say.